Well, I don't exactly look like JB. I'm probably like a tad darker in skin tone. I don't have a New York accent or anything like that. I've got a bit of a longer beard. You know what I mean? Um, I'm not exactly Dave. He's like 6'7" and I'm 5'10". And I'm not John because, well, John's half my size and stuff. But hey, I'm the producer, and apparently I'm QB3 tonight. I'm Denzel Snipes, and this is the Sideline Sports Show. Second one of the new year, and oh, as you can see, I'm sorry, I just gotta put it out there for those of you who didn't see the game last night. Okay, you see the logo. You see the banner. Hold on that side. There it is. Yeah. Texans are moving on, baby. But we're going to get on to that as well as everything else in Wild Card Weekend. Before we get started, everybody, please follow us, like and subscribe, and follow and share all of our material from Sideline Sports Network. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we got the 2-for-1 special on on TikTok. That's it. It's called TikTok. It's still called TikTok. All right. With that being said, here is the here's the team for tonight. It is myself, and then we also got the pundit himself, Jacob Christner. What's going on, buddy?
Dude, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers of last night of Sideline Sports. You have got you. I am Brett Skoranek. I'm Brett Skoranek. You are Calvin Austin. I mean, and Rusi coming on in there. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. He's Arthur Smith.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And you know what? Speaking of which, let me change my format here. Speaking of which, for the first time ever on the Sideline Sports Show, you have seen him on the Sports Insiders with myself and on Top Rope Talk along with myself and the pundit. This is Sean Rusty, the sports agent himself. Welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
Welcome to being Arthur Smith there, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
no.
Good to be here. Appreciate it, man.
You're Arthur Smith without a inheritance from daddy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there who don't want the responsibility, but please give us the inheritance.
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you this right now. Bill Blambier's coming around there and saying to him, give me an inheritance.
Yeah, pretty much so. Well, we're going to start off our program with, of course, our quick hits that sometimes are not so quick, but hey, it's on the show. We're going to tackle it. So let's get right to it. And we're going to our first one, and we're going to get more into the game details, but this is more on the person himself. Because and again, we're gonna get into the game details and everything. But the first quick hits that I wanted to ask you all is: have we seen quarterback Aaron Rodgers walk off the field for the last time? Now, also keep in mind that you may have had your opinion about it last night when it went on, but now add that to the fact that just earlier today, Mike Tomlin out-asked Pittsburgh Steelers head coach after 19 seasons. How much would that influence your answer? But we'll start with Sean. Sean, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, whether Tomlin stayed or not, I think my answer would be he's probably going to semi-retire. I would consider him, a potential to do what Phillip Rivers did this year. If a team's in the playoff race and someone goes down late next year, I could see him filling in, but I don't see him doing the year-to-year grind anymore. But I don't think he'll officially file his paperwork. I think he'll be like Rivers. He'll be like Roethlisberger, who held off paperwork for a while. I don't think he'll actually file his paperwork.
Okay. All right. And then Jacob, what about you? What do you think?
I think he would have given it a thought if Tomlin stayed. He loved it. He loved every bit there. He actually looked like he was enjoying himself. And it was all – and see, the whole thing with Mike is it shows – by the way, Sean, I was telling this to him earlier just off the screen. Tomlin might be – we're not going to say he's the greatest football coach or any kind of thing of all time by a stretch as far as X's and O's or anything. He might be the greatest pure psychologist we'll ever see in this era.
Yeah.
Just the idea that a jerk, prick, ridiculous dude like Rodgers was on his complete best behavior without Mike Tomlin asking him to be.
Yeah.
He loved him. It's just – but it's – and it's one of those things. It's like We're not going to see this again, 19 straight years. And we're going to be talking about this, I guess, in the thing, but we're not going to see this again. It's like anybody being liked that level. Forget fans, players, and just casual fans of the whole deal. And then the whole league loved the guy.
Yeah.
Loved him. And it's like, and it's sad. I wish he would have been that good. But as far as Aaron Rodgers, no, he's done. Period. Gone. End of story. It's like he's not going to do the grind for another guy. He's not going to do it for Clint Kubiak or whoever it is.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
over. But we'll talk about Tomlin in a second.
Yeah. I actually echo the same sentiments as Jacob. I think that if he was thinking about it, he would only stay if Tomlin was there. He loved Tomlin. He loved Pittsburgh, but I just do not see him. Now I think he's gone. I just do not see him going and playing for another coach. This actually reminds me of when Brett Favre retired. I don't know if you two remember. Brett Favre actually said that he physically could still do it, but it was the mental grind. It was attending OTAs, attending film sessions, learning new plays every single year. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to want to learn a new system playing somewhere else at 43 years of age?
Well, see, you got to remember what you just said. Think about this for a second. It's like doing the film mental grind. That means they don't want to coach. You want to know the favorite thing of Phillip Rivers was the mental grind.
Right. That is true.
He loved being able to go through that. So we know darn good and well whatsoever that who's going to be a coach and who's not. The people that are not going to be the coach don't want to look at film.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that one right there. So our second one, we're going to switch on to another sport here. So there's a lot of rumors going on, and the trade deadline is approaching. Will Grizzlies point guard Ja Morant be traded? Let's start off with Sean. You're the sports agent. What do you see here, buddy?
No, I mean, I could definitely see it, especially since Jackson got the extension. They traded Bane to the Magic in the offseason, so they've kind of been headed this direction. I could definitely see them, resetting that backcourt there. And with the value, now this is going to be the tough part, right? Because Morant's obviously had some issues off the court. He's had some, a few injury issues, but not too many. But I that's going to be where a team tries to, get a little cheaper, is because, well, what's he doing in the locker room? And these are big questions the GMs are going to be talking about. So I wouldn't be surprised to see what we would consider not market value, in terms of Ja Morant, if he is moved.
Okay. I think that is the biggest thing, because it's almost as if Memphis was willing to put up with his shenanigans. Obviously they are, because he's still there. Okay. Team suspended him, NBA suspended him, they handled the incidents. He's been relatively good since, all of that, right? Teams can go by recent history. He stayed out of trouble. He's a relatively healthy young man, still an explosive player, right? Guy's still in his 20s. But there may be some teams out there who will look at his past and say, hey, man, I don't know. I don't trust it. I can see him being moved and the Grizzlies blowing it up and kind of starting all over again. The question is where. Now, Houston was rumored to be in the mix. Me personally, as a Rockets fan, I like the guy, but I hope we don't get him, because I don't want to give up who we already have right now. I don't want to give up Sengun or Thompson or Smith or anybody else, right? I like who we have right now. I already had ill feelings about even moving to get Durant, so let's not put me through that again. And I don't mean to be selfish, but screw it. Let's not put me through that again, all right?
No, and it's very similar to, Gilbert on the Wizards when he was still, he was still cooking, but he had the gun incident, and it was like, is it time to move on? And then when they finally moved on from him, then when he did move on, he wasn't the same after he left Washington. So I wonder what happens to Ja when he does get to a new environment and away from his people.
Yeah, indeed. Jacob, what do you think, man? You think he'll be moved?
Yeah. Shot in the dark, I think, yeah. Chicago will be gunning for him. He'll be number one with a bullet. It's things like that, but how many gun references can I do with this idiot? What gets me so mad is just the fact that you get somebody he's not even a street guy, but it's like this wannabe crap.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's just one. It's like this. Every time I see something like this, you know what it reminds me of? It
Mhm.
reminds me that he wasn't that guy, but somebody in the locker room probably made fun of him, and then he's got to try to be street now because to prove something.
To prove a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably called him Russell Wilson, corny, whatever. They probably called him. They probably did whatever. They probably did all that crap just because. But I'm like, you want to know what Russell Wilson's not going to do? Get in trouble with guns.
Well, yeah, he's not in trouble at all. But I mean,
he's not going to get in trouble at all. The only trouble he's going to get into is with the media while he does more dips in the airplane. I mean,
John is probably a little more closer to being street. He would actually use the slang and stuff like that without actually being like a street guy, get in trouble or anything. Russ is still the hi guys, howdy neighbor type. You know what I mean? So John probably is a little bit more.
And they probably called him Russ. I'll bet you anything. They called him Russ in the locker room by saying because he wasn't in the streets. And then he had to prove he's in the streets. Now he's in trouble. It's like, good if you're Russ. Good. You know what you're doing? You're saving tons of money. You're investing. You're doing very well with life, and you're going to live.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to live because guess what? Messing around with guns will get you shot.
Yeah.
So guess what? Russ ain't going to be doing that kind of stuff. He's going to be keeping his abs at 60 years old and then dating the Ciara still, or keeping married to her.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? That actually leads us to our third quick hit. You mentioned Ja Morant going to Chicago because it's interesting, man. What a time to be alive if you're a Chicago sports fan. You got your Bears doing that thing, and we'll get to them in just a little bit. If Ja Morant should go to the Bulls, that would be a huge signing. But this leads to number 3. Third baseman Alex Bregman signs with the Cubs. I believe his deal was 5 years, somewhere north of $170 million. By the way, y'all, coming up here in a few months in the month of March. Opening day. Actually, opening day is April. But tune in for Confidential. Myself, Jacob will be on, as well as JB and Nick Botkins as well. Occasionally Tyler Ingram. All Chicago sports all the time. So tune in. We will be giving you notifications when we go into our new season. But how much did this team improve with this signing? What do you think, Sean?
No, I think especially, you're competing with Milwaukee, you're competing with LA, high-powered offenses. Milwaukee's had their playoff struggles, but regular season they put up, average 5-6 runs a game. I think it, definitely improves them defensively. There was some talk after he got signed that he'll be rotated between third base and DH to keep him fresher. But I think it's a great signing for them, especially in the NL. I think he's going to have even bigger numbers than he had in the AL.
Yeah. All right. And Jacob, your thoughts? Being a resident Cubs fan, what do you think?
It's an amazing idea. It's a great idea regardless, but amazing idea if they keep Nico. This idea of trading him to the Giants is irritating me. It's great in my throat. Horrible idea. I mean, Jed's doing the stupidest idea alive. So the biggest thing about this is the fact that the Cubs, the first 2 months of the year, record numbers. You knew that. You saw that. Record numbers. Then 3 of those months after that sunk, and it started with that Colorado series.
Right.
You know what I mean? It started with that Colorado. They just swept the series, but it was like 2-1 and 3-2 and 2-0 or whatever. Just horrible. Then the whole situation goes. Then the last of the month, everything starts to come together, do everything like that. But remember this: PCA got a 30-30, but it's like 28-28 or something like that at the break. So it was the least impressive 30-30 ever.
Huh? Yeah.
So the biggest thing is Cubs team needs, and you're right about firepower, Sean. But here's the thing that they need: they need to keep off the strikeouts. They need to get on the bags. The biggest thing about it is Nico, Bush, and now Bregman all have high on base percentages.
Mm-hmm.
It's like only Bush strikes out with a decent amount. Everybody, the other 2 do not. The reason Bregman is so important is because it needs a solid base before you get to the power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and everything like that. And personally, I'll say this. I would have taken Kyle Schwarber if it was Tucker gone.
Yeah.
I would have taken
Yeah.
it if it's Tucker gone. But both of them would have just been strikeout machines, especially in the middle of the deal. So you need that power. What you need on that base is you need a Bregman, you need Nico, you need Bush, all those guys who get on regularly, and then you need the power.
No, and that's really what Milwaukee and Cincinnati have built themselves on in terms of regular season is on base percentage. So,
Yeah.
the two toughest guys in your division right now are built the way you've got to kind of fix yourself in terms of what you were missing.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. All those people that we saw, that everything we see, they had 9 teams in the whole majors of 250 or over average as a team. But the top 2 were the Toronto and the Dodgers.
Right.
265 and 259, both high on base percentages. It's like no matter how much the stupid analytics tries to keep on base percentages away or stolen bases away or everything like that, those 2 were top 2 in everything.
Yeah.
And then they hit homers. And then they hit homers to boot.
Yeah. Someone like Bregman is a signing you need to get you to the next stage. If you did a time shift and Bregman was there last year, the Cubs eliminate the Brewers and they take the Dodgers 7 games.
Well, there's no question. It's like that's the point I'm making with something like this. It's like the Cubs need to cut the. I mean, I'm not. Everybody wants the power. Well, that's great to YouTube and it's great for TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to have for the 30-second clips. But as far as the overall team, you never know if you're getting a big home run in a 9-2 game the other way.
Right, that's true.
You don't know. So I mean, yeah, it looks nice and impressive. But how many strikeouts did you have in that game? What I would like to see for the Cubs this year, they had 3 or 4 games early in the year they didn't strike out at all. And then one later in the year they didn't strike out at all. I would love to see more of those games where they limited the strikeouts and got on base more and kind of got there. And every once in a while you're going to have a pile of homers.
Right.
But
it's like you said, they had the power outage versus Colorado. You can't be dependent on that. And you have the high struck out numbers, and then all of a sudden you've got 1 and 2 run averages for the week.
Yeah, and it's like, and absolutely, you can't rely. I mean, if you have a power outage against Colorado, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
and Colorado's horrible, and it's like those are the things with that. It's like if you're going to have that, if you're going to have that against Colorado, you have the final game against Milwaukee.
Yeah,
like that. If you hit against the teams you need to do, you're going to beat Milwaukee.
Absolutely,
and that's what they did in 16, and that's why I wanted a Bregman. Is because in 16 they were way more consistent all year, if not 2 months of record numbers, but just consistent all year.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, that was our quick hits. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to roll right into our topics for the evening. So stay tuned. This is the Sideline Sports Show. We're going to pay some bills. Be back in 41.
Sideline Sports live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
It's not a great league, the American League. The National League is far and away better.
I know we have those 4 games in
All
our
right, John, I'm
book.
going to stop you there. The Orioles haven't gotten to the World Series.
No, I'm just saying,
like
if you're a
decades,
fan of any team, Cam Newton's always.
Oh my gosh, you just say that name and I know something stupid's coming there.
8,000 points a game. What is Dragon Ball Z's in the WNBA now?
It's in a dog pile.
Stuff happens in the bottom of that
Hey,
pile.
a
You
lot
don't
of
even
stuff.
want to know about. You get spit on, you get poked, you get poked
Your
in the
hair
eye,
is
in the
pulled.
ear.
Yeah.
You get, yes.
He's not a leader. He's a child. Go play on your burner account and go have fun.
Those are our funny ass commercials. Welcome back to the Sideline Sports Show. I am your host, Denzel Snipes. I'm here with Sean Russey, the sports agent himself, and the pundit, Jacob Christner. We're going to roll right into the action here. And that is so we now, and then there were 2 national championship game. Who saw number 10 Miami making it all the way? A lot of people saw Indiana making it all the way. Well, these are your last 2 that will be playing for the national championship on January the 19th. So here's the deal, because this is like City of Miami centered, because we've got one team who's playing a literal home game for the national championship. And then we've got our Heisman winning quarterback born and raised in Miami. So he's coming home also. Who takes the trophy home? Sean, starting with you, who you got, buddy? Miami or Indiana?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I don't think anybody expected Miami to be here, even when they faced Ole Miss. I think some people figured Ole Miss would find a way to, get that W. But Miami's been consistent. No turnovers. Keeping the defense and into low scoring games. I thought they had to keep that game under the 30s, and they kept it right at the 30s in terms of the final. I think they're going to have to do similar with Indiana if they want to have a chance, but they can't let Indiana start hot. They can't get down 14, 17, nothing the way Oregon did. They don't have the firepower to even attempt, what Oregon tried to do early in the second half there. So I feel like Indiana's probably going to take it, but I think the home field will play a little bit advantage early, but I think, the better team wins out here.
Yeah, you know what? We have seen things like this before. We have seen Heisman winning quarterbacks blitz through and then kind of win the national championship like Cam Newton, right? And then we've seen Heisman quarterbacks blitz through the season and then lay a complete egg in a national championship game. I will say this much, okay? The Indiana Hoosiers, and man, it makes for a great sequel to the film Hoosiers, you figure, right? Coach Cignetti has become like the America's sweetheart all of a sudden, either with stoic reactions and just his coaching style and the way he has turned this program around. But I will tell you this. They have not faced a defense like the Miami Hurricanes, not just in the playoffs, but all season long. They're flying. They look a little bit like these guys. They look a little bit like them. You know, they fly all over. They limit you in point. Just the way defense is well put together. The Canes don't even have to score a bunch of points. The Indiana, Fernando Mendoza hasn't seen anything like this. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Indiana cannot win the game. We've seen what they have destroyed other teams, you figure, right? I think their stiffest competition up until now between conference championship Saturday and now was Ohio State for the Big Ten title. Other than that, it's pretty much been just Indiana kind of bulldozing through everyone.
Penn State too, because they took it to Penn State also. They had to take it to the last second.
They did. That the regular season meeting at Penn State. They actually showed them that Fernando can engineer a game-winning drive. I'm going to take the Canes in this one. But I would not be shocked if Indiana, pulls it off and makes some history. But either way you look at it, we're either going to get someone who has never won a national title before, who hasn't won in 20 plus years. I'm going to take the Canes, but I expect a good game. And if Indy takes it, hey, it's well deserved. Jacob, what do you think, man?
Who expected, no matter how good he was last year, who expected Indiana to be here this year? I can name a few. Let's see, Cignetti, maybe his wife. The Mendoza family, that Mendoza's girlfriends. Let's see, Alberto Mendoza, his girlfriend. I think those are the ones I expected. Otherwise, nobody else. But it is tough. This is the thing. Carson Beck is most likely going to buy a Lamborghini so he can get it luckily stolen, so you can see what that works out. I don't know how much. I don't know how much they have a shot as far as Carson doing the work. Miami's got an awesome defense. But one thing that Indiana's never seen is that amount of cocaine at one time in a suitcase of Michael Irvin. I mean, that dude is wired for sound. I think cocaine takes Michael Irvin. but seriously, Indiana's just, if you allow them there, it's over. And this is the thing about Miami. They have to play the perfect game, both offense and defense. Cignetti's teams do not make mistakes at all. They are like Bobby Knight's 1970s, 1980s basketball teams.
Yeah.
Mind you, you might keep the game close, but it's one of those things. They just played that well all the time. And both of them are grouches, Bobby Knight and Kurt Cignetti. Both of them are major grouches, no matter how far you were up. And that's just... They mastered their game. And that the biggest thing about this is that's why Cignetti has an NFL deal, which I still don't want to see. But that's why it's the idea of getting a franchise or a program, as you will, to play that perfectly all the time. They had the same month that Georgia had. They had the same month that all those other teams that got absolutely clobbered, Ohio State. They had the same month and they absolutely murdered them. They murdered everybody. So who's making a mistake? Is Ryan Day making a mistake? Is Kirby Smart making a mistake? They're champions. It's like, or does Cignetti have something figured?
All right. What do you think it's going to take for Miami to win the game offensively or defensively?
Prayer. No, Defensively, they'll hold up their end. There's no question about that. But offensively, Carson Beck's just he has an arm, but he's so sloppy. Boy, I can see Indiana picking him off 3 times.
Yeah. I mean, I will tell you this much because some people will allude to the running game because, I mean, Indiana's defense is pretty stout also. You know what I mean? They did shut down Alabama. I think Alabama had -3. No, that was the Georgia game. But also keep in mind, Alabama couldn't run the football worth of shit all season. Their running game completely disappeared. That's how you knew it was over with as far as it's like Saban's gone, but like that was a shell of an Alabama team. You can't run the football. Like come on,
Kalen, you got to remember this with Kalen DeBoer. You had Nimrod. You had Nimrod from the SEC Network, Paul Feinbaum, talking about how he gave him ice cream and hugs instead of Saban.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Saban was so mean and nasty, and he won 7 rings. So I mean, mean and nasty brought a run game. The ice cream and hugs didn't.
Yeah.
So remember this part. It's like I said about, I don't know if Sean Rusi saw this or not, but I put this on Facebook. I mean, Paul Feinbaum is basically the human version of showing that Cialis doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah. And last but not least, Sean, what do you think? Because Indiana is, last I saw, they're a touchdown favorite. What is it going to take for Miami to win this ball game?
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take for Indiana to win this ball game, offensively and defensively?
No, I think like Jacob said, the Miami defense is going to be there, but I really think that they've got to win the turnover battle. So if Carson throws it one, they got to go get one back for him. They've got to win the turnover battle. I know it's cliche, obviously, the turnover battle usually is won by the team that ends up winning the game. But I think for Miami to have some sort of chance, they've got to win the turnover battle like 4-2 or 5-3, whatever it is. They've got to offset Beck's errors. And I think, like Jacob said, I think he is going to make a few errors this game. I don't think we're going to see the same success we've seen the last couple weeks in terms of the low turnover numbers. I think he's going to, 2 to 3 picks, I think is a good guess for this game. So I think that's why Miami needs to answer right back and get some fumbles, get some picks of their own. Even if they don't turn into defensive touchdowns, they just got to offset Beck's mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And rely on their running game. They have a nice 2-punch system with Fletcher, JR, and Brown.
I think that's what's going to play out too early is they're going to try to play keep away for as long as possible. I think even if it's 7 or 10-0, they're going to keep trying to do, 5-6 minute drives, possibly longer, to try and keep Mendoza off the field.
This is how Miami actually beat their last 3 opponents. Is these long sustained drives, especially in particular. So I want to say that Miami actually had 2 or 3 10-plus play drives during the game versus Ole Miss. And this is probably what it's going to come to. Keep Mendoza on the sidelines. Long, grueling, punch him in the mouth, sustained drives, and keep Mendoza off the field because Indiana can have a quick strike offense, but I mean, like Sean said, you can't let them get off to a hot start. You can't spot them 14, 21 points.
Well, Miami's best case is they put the pressure on. They're up 7 or 14, and then they see what Mendoza does under, down 14 points.
Right. Jacob?
Plus, the thing about this is the fact, they get Mendoza on the field. He's going to score. Then he'll get onto the interview stage and become Tebow with tacos.
Basically.
It's just like they talk the same about Jesus. They do all that kind of stuff. That's the way the thing is. And I love Mendoza and everything like that. But it's like, personally to me, you get this whatsoever. It's like, I would say Indianapolis needs a trade for him. Indianapolis needs a trade for him. He's in Indiana. He's done all that kind of stuff. They need a trade for him to be able to get it and to take him off of Las Vegas. He's not that type of kid.
Yeah.
He's not that type of kid. He is not going to go to that area, and he's not a New York kid. Let him just get into the nice Midwestern like he is.
Yeah, but there's only one problem with that, and that is the Raiders do need a quarterback because it's not like they can fall back on Dante Moore. Those two are going to go 1-2, in my opinion. They're like Dante Moore's not going to be. He's not going to be there by the time the pick circle back around to the Raiders. So, and that's why I called their last meeting the Raider Bowl, because the Raiders are going to take one of those two quarterbacks.
Yeah, but it's like if it's Tom Brady, it's like I know what he's doing with something like this, but I would much rather try to go after, say, a Lamar Jackson, or try to use your money and use the skill on that. Don't do Geno, obviously, but try to get something big in the stadium instead of unproven.
Yeah.
You went to, and I know what you're saying with that, but my thought process, if I'm Brady, trade that one, get a pile, go get a name and a half.
No, I'm with you on that. Especially, I'm a big proponent, kind of what the Seahawks did with Russell. They built the lines first, and then they dropped in the quarterback. I think they should trade the pick, even if they don't get necessarily player assets. I think they should trade the pick, draft O lineman, draft D lineman, bring in a veteran to hold you over for a year or two. You'll be at the top of the draft again in a couple years, and drop your quarterback in later.
Go get the biggest name that you can possible if you can pull it off.
Yeah, well, there's also the possibility, and this is the only other scenario that I see, and that is if the Raiders take Dante Moore. If the Raiders take Dante Moore, if I'm Indianapolis, I'm on the phone and I'm trading up. If the context here is keep Fernando in Indiana, keep him in the state. Okay, if the Raiders take Dante Moore, I'm immediately on the phone. Immediately. Hey, what do y'all want for this pick? What do y'all want?
No, I mean, no, give it a pile. Make it like fantasy football. Seriously. It's make it like fantasy football. Go to town. The reason I bring that up huge is you got to get what fits. You really do. It's like, this is in the end, this is not Brock Purdy, because no one expected Brock Purdy to do what he did. He was Mr. Irrelevant.
Right.
Yep.
No one expected that part, and he goes back to Iowa. No one expected to be that thing. But this is a top pick. You want your top pick to fit you. And he would fit Indianapolis. He'd be home. You get the parents there every week, the family every week, which is like 7,200 people of the whole place. That'd be most of the family there. It's like you got to have something. Remember, they tried this with Anthony Richardson. They tried to get a family. They tried all that stuff. So it works as far as that goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It works as far as the building something up. I mean, and plus the fact Mendoza's a good dude.
Yes.
He's got a Midwestern mindset. He's got everything. You want to build on something, and he's great for the Latino community.
Yes, absolutely is. Well, when we return, we're going to dive right into the other part of our headline, and that is NFL Wild Card Weekend Recap. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about 40 seconds.
Sideline Sports live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Killen Clark is Larry Bird, I would say, and Paige Beckers is Magic Johnson.
It's kind of like an oxymoron,
Yeah, moron is right.
Maybe when they listen to people like you, that's how they continue being the Browns.
He did have that type of talent to the pro level, but the scouts failed the team.
I disagree. The Panthers, I'm not saying they're making the playoffs, but they're going to be really hard to beat this year. Bryce Young,
so they're not winning the division. Hooked up with some chick, and then he told her he was a linebacker.
Oh boy. And we are back on the Sideline Sports Network. I am Denzel Snipes. I'm here with the sports agent himself, Sean Russey, and the pundit, Jacob Christner. Let's get right into it, because we had a very, very interesting, to say the least, NFL wildcard recap weekend. We're going to go game by game here. So as you can see in the headlines, Bears and Packers had another thriller. The Rams got their get back against the Panthers. The 49ers have eliminated the champs. Texans got their first road playoff win. And so we'll actually get it started. We'll go in order here. So Rams 34, Panthers 31. Ended with a late TD to go ahead by Matthew Stafford to Tyler Higbee. This was a great game. It was what I expected it to be. I didn't expect it to be a run through or anything like that. I expected it to be back and forth. Whew. So I'll start off with Sean, and that is, do you have concerns for the LA Rams because they let an 8-9 division winner hang around? Or was it one of those, hey, they had to grind it out and win it, and good teams find a way to win?
No, because as much as Carolina's record, says what it says, they've been in games all year. They've been second half team all year in terms of pushing and making comebacks. It doesn't surprise me at all that they pushed the Rams there at the end. Even after a bit of a rough start there, they righted the ship as they've done in many games this season, and that they were right there at the end where they could have pulled it off. I think their inexperience did show there. At the end, but it's a young team, and I think they're on the up and up in that division. Especially, that division is constantly won around 9-8, 10-7. So I think they're going to be division runners in that division for a while now.
Absolutely. And then we'll go to Jacob here. Your thoughts about this game? Rams did what they had to do to win the game, and quite possibly, how you think the Panthers are going to fare next season. You think they're going to be the team to beat?
Well, Sean, first off, we know why you're watching games. You're looking for notes for their next client. You're doing this. Oh, yeah. Hey, he got a third stringer here. Got it. We got a third stringer. Second, this one might have a chance to start. I'm going to take them.
Yeah.
But Panthers are getting better. Canales is a good coach. I like him. He's really built up on that team, and I don't care about the 8 and 9 because any of the 8 and 9s could have made that. You know what I mean? And let me tell you, any of those three could have been. Any of those three could have given. Got to remember the Falcons beat the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So did the Panthers.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to realize the Rams since 22 have been a target to begin with. It's like, and it's getting late in the year, and they're hurting and everything like that. And realize this thing whatsoever. There's a little bit of a wild card that I'm going to bring this up with the Rams and Bears game. He's got a bad finger, and you've got Garoppolo, who's a Chicago kid.
Yeah,
He hasn't played in a while, but he knows Chicago weather. That's the big deal about that. So who knows with that? But no, it's not in the playoffs. You cannot tell. You got to remember we had Seattle all those years ago doing beast mode, and stiff arming somebody back about 75 yards. That's what we had, and it's like it was 7-9 beating 11-5. Playoffs, you never know. It's one game and done.
Yeah, very true.
It's one game and done. You can't tell. And Carolina's getting better. I like Canales. I like everything. But here's the thing. The NFC South is getting better in general. The whole of the one.
It's slow, but yeah, they're getting
slowly.
better.
But New Orleans got better.
They did.
New Orleans got better. Atlanta's going to get a new coach. They've got a new president. You got Matt Ryan. They've got. Tampa Bay's going to. No matter if people are in a way a little bit. They're a little bit down that they kept Todd Bowles. But Todd Bowles was about an overtime away. He was about an overtime away from being – oh, no, he won the game. But he was basically a fourth quarter away from being 4 straight division titles.
Yeah.
So it's going to get better and more competitive. It's been terrible the last 3 or 4 years. It's going to get better and more competitive. So it's not bad to beat that team barely because they're getting better.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? We actually are going to go right back to you here in just a second because what a hell of a Saturday night. Bears 31, Packers 27. The Bears, including the postseason, win the season series. They eliminate the Packers for the first time since World War II. How about that? Jacob, man, I know it was up and down for you on Saturday night, brother. We all were in the group chat and everything. What a party in Chicago, man. Your thoughts about this game?
I'll be completely honest. When I was younger, I got Michael Irvin level nuts when I was younger. I didn't have a belt, and I didn't whack the TV. Dad would have killed me. I didn't have cocaine, but I got Michael Irvin level nuts back in those times. Now, as you know from what I thought of Caleb all offseason and all the last 2 years, my emotions go into the off season more than the end of the game.
Right.
It's because I don't get it in the game because I don't need my heart going up and down like that. Right. But I'm watching close and I'm cheering and I'm raising my arms touchdown and I'm doing all that stuff, but I'm not panicking if they give them up.
Right.
So, I mean, Troy Geary was saying how that I am almost collapsing. Oh my God! It's like, that's not my style anymore. It's like we lose, but it's like you can't panic.
Yeah.
I've seen Bears fans throw glasses in bars too much, break this stuff, get charged for it, all that kind of thing. It's like, just wait and see. And see, that way you know who's going to win and who's going to lose. You can get the idea when your head is clear.
And you know what? And before we switch to Sean, because I know you were so critical of number 18 ever since last season and in this season. And I know your feelings have changed. What are your thoughts on Caleb Williams now?
I'll tell you what changed it. I will tell you what changed it big time. Number one, Ben Johnson. That's a big deal. I mean,
That's
Ben
true.
Johnson got him to man up. But when he got his ankle kicked, that was a cheap shot. That could have been a Charles Martin of this era.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been. He kicked him. It was a cheap shot right in the ankle. I absolutely, when he hopped off the field, I thought he popped he thought he popped an Achilles the way he hopped off that field. I was getting in my head that it's going to be Bagent. Even though they hadn't brought anything up yet, I was getting it in my head. And the Bears had the momentum, and Bagent's still the thrower, so it would have been fine. But then he came on. Not only did he get a sit down, he didn't go into the tent. He refused to go into the tent, and then he walked on, didn't hop on. And that said everything to me that he's learned to man up.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I'll give you a little wrestling thing. It's remember when Jim Cornette turned babyface, says, Mama, you're going to have to sit, I'm going to take you out of wrestling, blah, blah, blah. He says, Mama, you're going to have to sit down and get this because I got to handle this like a man.
You're right.
That's what he said in his promo, and I feel like that's what Caleb had to do.
Yeah.
And he finally had to do, regardless of the lipstick, regardless of all that kind of stuff like that, it's like he manned up.
Yeah.
He did. Up and big time. And it's like, so that won me over big time with that because he did not even hop on the field. He walked back on the field after that.
Yeah. And you know what? To me, I think it goes in stages with Caleb Williams because when he was at Oklahoma, I could sure he could throw, but everyone knew he had wheels. He could run. I mean, Lincoln Riley had designed runs for him and everything. And then he transfers to USC. He follows Lincoln Riley. He becomes a better passer at USC. He wins the Heisman. Then he comes into the pros. He had all these ills, and then along comes Ben Johnson. It's almost like he's learning how to be a pro quarterback with Ben Johnson because we have seen the Caleb this year was nowhere near the Caleb last year.
No, well, for one thing, Ben Johnson basically, I don't know what he said in the locker room because I wasn't in the locker room. I'm not like the fans who think. But something got in there that made him man up. Literally, he literally took over the locker room. I mean, you got to realize when he took that ball in his hands about that wide.
Yeah.
His hands that big wide and everything like that. And it's like these guys are bigger than we think.
Yeah.
And then he's palming a ball and just handing it over to the guy, and it's like, but he literally took control of the locker room and he took everything. And it's like I had a bad feeling when Ben Johnson said he had to teach him how to be how to man up. He had to teach him how to get some confidence. I'm like, usually confidence would be automatic. But boy, it worked, and I like to know how he did it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sean, we'll get your thoughts about the Packers-Bears thriller. What were your thoughts about this game? Your thoughts about Caleb Williams, and also, and you know what? I'll ask you this also: should this loss have costed head coach Matt LaFleur his job?
It's tough because Green Bay's dealt with a lot of late injuries here and big significant injuries. I think it would be a shame to pin that on LaFleur. I think, it is a much different game with a healthy Green Bay defense, as we saw when they were healthy for the first 10 to 12 weeks. They pretty much dominated every team they faced in terms of the defensive side of the ball when Micah was in there. So I think it would have been a different game. I'm not saying Chicago would have lost, but I don't think it should cost LaFleur his job, even with the blown lead in the fourth quarter. I know that stings and it's hard to swallow that type of loss, but to have that game, where you were with the injuries, I think should be what he's applauded for versus, they blew it in the fourth quarter. No, Chicago just had a really good fourth quarter. And like Jacob said, played pretty much mistake free. Caleb put on, what you had to do it. He had essentially a perfect fourth quarter there. And I think in terms of Caleb and Ben Johnson, it's just one of those things where coaching in the NFL is more important than any other sport to me. You can take a team and you could put a Jim Harbaugh in there, and that team is automatically going to turn around into at least a wild card contender. And I really don't care the type of talent you have on the roster, and it's because of the coach you have on the sideline. It's kind of like what Kyle Shanahan's done this year with all the injuries. Ben Johnson, though, kind of like Jim Harbaugh did with Alex Smith, he unlocked something for Caleb Williams. And now, even if, say 5-10 years down the line, Ben Johnson is not there, I think you've got, it's not going to just change who Caleb is now. He is this quarterback now going forward. And Johnson just happened to have the keys to unlock what Williams needed to hear to get the job done. Because like you said, he was very athletic. He showed that last year. He showed the arm power last year, but the mistakes, came in buckets. And when one came, it seemed like three came. And he's eliminated that this year under Johnson. The domino effect is not there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, and I understand that this is the National Football League, even if it was college ball, right? You figure when you're up like that, you're supposed to shut that door. But at least people can hang their hats on. It'd be one thing if like the Titans did this comeback, right? Or maybe the Browns, Shedeur Sanders or something like that, But at least you can hang your hat on. You can look back and say, you know what? It's not surprising. Playoffs or not, Caleb Williams has done this all season long. He has 7 game-winning drives and fourth quarter comebacks. That's more than anyone in a season, So
remember this with Caleb. Remember this with Caleb for a second on this. The Bears media tried making him James Bond last year, that he's unshakable and everything, and then he was just. I mean, basically in the moments, everything like that, practically wanted to cry during everything like that. And then they did that, ignoring the fact that he had mommy in his arms while, losing that game at home. Mm-hmm. And the mommy in his arms going, he did that. And then all of a sudden you get a man out there like Ben Johnson, and it's like realizing and reminding him the Jim Cornette thing of, mommy, you got to sit down. I got to go get it now.
Yeah,
I got to do it. But no, same thing about Matt LaFleur for a second. He got 84 wins in such a very fast time.
Right.
84. And I want to say this, give him a 10-year contract or go to Atlanta. But I'm just saying, this is going toward the Packers fans. Shut up. This goes toward the fans. Do you want to know what fans' biggest problem is? And this is, the Bears get this way too. I mean, right now I love this season. I could love next year. But what happens in the year 3 if there's 9-7? They're going to want Ben Johnson gone, because this is the problem, huh?
Yeah, no, it's we're not hearing out of Detroit, but you're 100%. That third year gets shaky, that fourth year gets shaky, and it's all like, oh, the coach is making bad calls, the coach is doing this.
Well, no, it's what it is. It's the new car smell. I mean, remember this about the new car smell, and I'm just saying this based off of psychology. When we get a new car, do we ever have McDonald's bags in our car when we have a brand new car? Mm-hmm. Do we ever? It's that new car smell. The minute the new car smell's gone, we're having the fries fall inside the seat, and it could be a Lamborghini. It's the same with coaches. It's the same with coaches. Third year gets shaky, fourth year gets shaky. They're still great coaches. Look at the ridiculousness of the Steelers fans and how they treated Tom in the last 5 years.
And he's never had a losing season.
Ever. These idiots don't realize how tough it is to win the NFL.
Yep.
Right.
You realize he had 12 10-win seasons. Forget the whole. This isn't. They treated him like Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher had 6 winning seasons in 22 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had every winning season or a couple of 8-8s tops, not one losing season. It's tough. Yeah. And the thing is, it's tough to win. Yep. Like I said, he's winning divisions with Brett Skoranek. He's winning divisions with Scotty Miller. Yes, he had DK, but he didn't have a whole lot. He had most of his offensive line screwed. He had all that kind of stuff. And they're winning division. And even if Tyler Luke hits that field goal, They were second place in a division that should have been 4 wins with that kind of roster.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the fans continuously want a new car smell, and then things get worse. That is the story of the Chicago Bears last 20 years. Because they want the new cars. I mean, they got rid of Lovey when he was winning.
Got rid of him after the 10-6 season.
Yep, you're losing because you're listening to the fans. Aaron Rodgers said it himself. He thinks it's insane that they want him and doing everything like that. But that's what the Twitter world is. These morons.
Yeah.
They act like they know what they're talking about. They wouldn't even know how to control a bunch of 10-year-olds on a basketball court.
No, indeed. Well, we do have to move on here. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. But we'll go on to Wild Card Sunday. Bills, Jaguars. Bills 27, Jaguars 24. It was close down the stretch. I do get the feeling that the Jaguars let them score to allow enough time for T-Law to come back and get a game-tying field goal or even a game-winning touchdown. And then on the opening play, T-Law throws a tip ball interception and it's over with. Sean, starting with you. Was this the Josh Allen game? Being all beat up and injured and everything, he had to put the team on his back. Go on the road and beat a really tough Jacksonville Jaguars team for their first road playoff win since 1992. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, usually we look at these playoffs and go, who's the best quarterbacks? And I think if you take Mahomes out of the equation, which he is this year, I think you've got Josh Allen kind of head and shoulders above most in the AFC. I think they'll actually go on and at least make the AFC Championship just on the strength of Josh Allen and what he can bring to them. But in terms of what he did Sunday versus Jacksonville, yeah, he really, willed them to stay in that game early. And then, unfortunately for Lawrence, he has not had, even with the tip ball, you're not blaming for that, but he has not had multi-interception games this year. And he puts one up on Sunday, and that's kind of the difference in the game. And it's funny, the announcers were talking right before Barrett, I think, got the interception, like he had not been baited so much. And 2 plays later, he got baited just like he had last year before, Liam Cohen had showed up and been the coach. I think some of that, inexperience for the playoffs showed up there, and some decent coaching and scheming for Buffalo, and I think they'll continue to show that against the Broncos.
Okay. And then Jacob, your thoughts about this game and Josh Allen's performance, and also where do you think the Jaguars fell short?
Okay, I'm going to name off the teams and then things. Okay, this is the deal. Also, Green Bay. I'm talking about backup quarterbacks. Okay. Mm-hmm. Green Bay, Malik Willis. The Bears, Tyson Bagent. I like Tyson, but he's only played 4 games. Okay. Let's see, Denver Broncos. Who is their backup? I'm trying to think for a second because that's. I think it's Sam
Ehlinger.
Ehlinger, who has 1 start, 2 starts. Sam Ehlinger. You've got, let's see, Jacksonville. That's completely unknown. That was at the time. We can name these over and over and everything like that. I mean, the Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to say this whatsoever. I like the guy, but guess what? Buffalo Bills backup has 56 career starts.
Trubisky,
a winning record, and been to 2 playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has combined 3 starts, maybe 6 starts. The thing is, on that Sunday, their backup, even if it was against the Jets, but it was against the Jets starters, 4 touchdowns. 4 TDs. Mind you, is he going to do that in the playoffs? No, of course not. But it shows that if something happens to Allen, they're going to keep trying to move the ball.
Of course.
Whether now, it happens or not.
Keep in mind, if something, and knock on wood, I hope nothing happens to Allen, but even if you do put Trubisky in there, they always got James Cook to fall back on.
Yeah, and the leading rusher. They're going to keep. What I meant by is that he's not going to be Allen. He's not. Just watch the release of the ball. It shows it's Allen. Obviously, 100,000 miles.
Doesn't need to be feed number 4.
What?
Doesn't need to be. You don't need to be Allen. Feed number 4.
No, absolutely. They're feeding number 4. But the thing I'm saying with it is McDermott was showing what he was showing in that game. Yes, it's the Jets. Yes, it's their first ring. And yes, they are horrible. And yes, that team was awful. But what he was showing in that playoffs is I've got a backup. I will keep throwing the ball too.
Right.
I will change nothing. And yeah, both of them will feed number 4. But he is showing that. It's like the point you have to make with something like this is remember when Purdy got hurt in 22?
Mm-hmm.
And they brought it to Josh Johnson, who couldn't do a thing. Had to put Purdy back in, who couldn't do anything. It was handoff for 52 straight plays. And that's the whole thing. Ever since that point, now what does the San Francisco have? They've got Mac Jones, who obviously showed he could play. But it's like every single one of those teams in the league showed. They saw that game and like, we're not going to get caught. We're not going to get caught in that situation. We're not saying Mitch is going to be better than Allen because he's not. We're saying we're going to keep moving the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to give it to the Cook. We're going to give it the 4. We're going to do all that stuff. It's going to be the same playing. It's going to be the thing no matter what. There's going to be none of these teams that are going to get caught. If Bajan would have to come in, hypothetically, none of these teams are going to get caught anymore.
Right.
Like San Francisco did. That was pathetic what happened there, and they all watched. Look where we're at 3 years later.
Yeah.
With backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So, but I think Buffalo can easily win the thing, but Nick's is going to make it interesting because he has fourth quarter comebacks too.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree on that one. Moving on to our next matchup, 49ers, Eagles. 49ers pulled the stunner. Real quick, my thoughts on this game. And I know Brock Purdy made his plays. He did. He made his plays. But clearly the star of the show was the 49ers defense. Robert Saleh called a masterful game. You held the defending champions to 19 points on the road and knocked them out. And also, might I add, you know what? I love the guy, but A.J. Brown, part of this is on you too. You clamored all season long to get the ball. And when they go to you, when they needed you, critical moments during the game, critical game, you had 3 or 4 drops. So I think it's fair to say at this point, you got to show up and play ball next year, because you wanted the ball, and then when they went to you, you couldn't haul it in, But shout out to the Robert Saleh and that 49ers defense. They absolutely did their thing on Sunday. But Sean, what were your thoughts about this game?
No, and I think they kind of got overlooked because Seattle won that game the week before 13-3, and no one really talked about the Niners defense that game. But you held Seattle, who had been rolling, to 13 points. And the Niners were a dropped Christian McCaffrey interception ball from tying that game at 10-10 late. So I think the Niners got overlooked because what was shown on paper was the Seahawks had a lot more yards and a lot more time of possession, but they didn't punch the ball in. Unfortunately, Niners had a few mistakes and lost that game 13-3. But I think what you saw this weekend was a carryover. That defense was, okay, this is how we're going to play defense. We're going to play with our 2 to 3 linebackers. We're going to play nickel most of the game, and we're going to make you essentially beat us with the pass, and we're going to stack up against the run. And we're going to hope that our guys make the quick moves on the quick outs to get there. And that's what you kind of saw at the end of the game. They tried to go quick underneath the Goater, and the linebacker was right there. But I think, like you said, A.J. Brown, and even being a Niners fan, there's not one corner that should be holding him on the 49ers. Yeah. He absolutely destroyed the 49ers 2 years in a row, going back to last year's regular season game and the NFC title game a couple of years ago. He absolutely ate them alive. And the fact that he had the key drops, and the fact that he asked for that deep ball and did not get any separation, it was just a bad day overall.
Yeah, indeed. What about you, real quick, Jacob? Okay, do you think that the Niners won this game or the Eagles lost this game? Did the Eagles lose this game more than the 49ers won it?
Niners won with a play that should have been in 2022 when Purdy got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been around, huh?
They had run it in the Super Bowl versus Kansas City is last time they ran it.
Yeah, but they should have done that in 22. That's what I'm saying. They should have won it in 22 when they had no quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they did it, and look what happened. This is the point. See, but that's the big thing. And yeah, the Niners won it, but the Eagles. This is the thing. A.J. Brown's not helping himself whatsoever. And even though A.J. Brown helped me win a fantasy title, I got to still say he's. But the biggest thing is he's not helping himself because you look at take one look at the playoffs, every single one of them, okay? Take one look at it. The Bears, they have DJ Moore, but he's been injured most of the year. You got basically rookie Luther Burden. You've got, Odunza's been hurt. They've got Olamide Zaccheaus, who basically doesn't know how to catch a ball if it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So he drops. So they've got that, and they've won games. Green Bay, who the heck did they have in their team? I mean, they had Romeo Dobbs late, and he looks like the head from MTV. I mean,
and Josh Jacobs is returning kicks.
And here's the thing: if you miss Romeo Dobbs with that big old clog on his head, you're an idiot. But they had no one else. Look at the Denver Broncos receiving core. Nothing, and they're in. They won the division. They're number 1 seed. It's like Buffalo. We've seen what Buffalo's had. A.J. Brown's making this gigantic mistake because there's not these two. I'll say this: Mike McDaniel and Andy Reid. Andy Reid made it better. It made these big, giant Brandon Marshall and who's the other one? Alshon Jeffrey for the Bears.
Yeah.
It made these giant Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey combinations completely obsolete. It's like we talked about Pittsburgh and we kind of made fun of what there is, and they were talking about this. They won a division with the end of the year Adam Thielen, Brett Skoranek. They no DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, who had 28 catches all year, and they won a division. AJ screwing up because they don't need this. None of them. Pittsburgh doesn't have an offense. Don't get that wrong. But the big power offenses have the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need them. You're spreading the ball around with like 14 different guys. Yep. So he thinks he's going to go. He thinks he's going to get himself a big giant contract, everything like that. And they see him do what he did on the field. He's dead.
Yeah.
He's dead. He'll get on a team, but then the same thing will happen there. He'll throw a fit, then he'll be out of the league. He'll be like T.O.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
So, San Francisco won that game. Make no mistake about that. And again, there's the idiot Eagles fans who says that Jalen Hurts is always a mid quarterback. Yeah, 2 Super Bowls, idiot. Put Tanner McKee in there, and they have 6 wins next year.
Yeah. And Sean, one thing I forgot to mention is the 49ers defense did all this without their best and second best defenders. No Nick Bosa and no Fred Warner.
Yeah, no, they've really, and this is kind of what we talked about on one of our offseason shows on our Sports Insiders, that they've taken the Rams, program. They're putting in the young defenders, drafted a whole bunch of young defenders for Salah this year. And now they're getting the experience that will hopefully carry over, whenever this run happens to end. But speaking of Warner, they opened up his practice window today. He's going to attempt to play Saturday. I think that's a huge emotional boost, come Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, but you brought up the Rams. Puka only. Everybody else is very.
Arguably, that's the top receiving core, right? Puka and Adams, and even them, they spread the ball around. They spread the ball around.
Every touchdown by Devontae is like 3 yards out.
Yeah, but again, his route running is top notch. You can't really get
the
fact that
also at one point
like
led the
said,
league in
3
touchdowns.
yards out. The fact that he can get the separation on 3 yards is says a lot about.
No, you're correct on that. But what I'm saying by itself is like the danger is not Devontae. No matter what you're bringing, because he can get that separation. He's a veteran receiver, is what I'm saying. He's a veteran receiver that can be able to do that. But the danger is Puka.
Oh, 100%.
Every
100%.
ounce. But there's no other. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying this one by itself. We don't have a lot of big giant receivers in the league anymore. Mike McDaniel killed that. Reed did it better. Look at all these little guys around that spread the ball around like crazy. It's like you have your 150-yard games, but back in the 2010s, 12s, you'd see these 240-yard games.
Yeah.
Yep. No, there's not a whole lot of Calvin Johnson anymore.
Yeah. It's like the only one that you see with like a 240-yard game or whatever is like Puka.
Mm-hmm.
Puka, Jamar Chase, and that's it's pretty much it. Jamar Chase
and pretty much it. Yeah.
But it's like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are the last of the big combos. Everybody else is spreading the ball.
Yep.
And by the way, and just letting you know, That's 4 wins. They had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They had 4 wins.
And that's, like you said, the backup quarterback there was just god awful.
Well, yeah. But we know that Flacco wasn't. He had a near 500-yard game, but the Browning was horrible.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though, is like the combination, even with Flacco, even with everything, they had no defense. Everybody else spread the ball around now. The guys with the big giant combinations like 2012 Bears. Not anymore. They won 4 games. We're not going to see that much.
Saw with AJ, other than those few plays where the Niners kind of lined up in zero blitz, they had someone shadowing him all game and kind of were like, let Devontae and Goddard beat us. We're not going to let AJ beat us over the top. We'll take a couple plays where there's only one guy on him, but there wasn't a whole lot of plays where there's only one guy on AJ, and you can do that, like you said, when you're not really spreading that ball around to too many guys.
Oh, and absolutely, and this is such a different. What you and I talked about tonight, we're talking about the different type of the different type of quarterback and the different type of offense now. You bringing this up yourself. We're bringing that up. We're not talking big, giant receivers. That's fantasy. But we're not – but in truth, I'm bringing this part up. I'm just doing a bragging part here, okay? I'm doing a bragging part. I'm saying with the fantasy, but I'm going to do this based off of Denzel here. Denz knows I won the league, but here's the deal: I won a league with 3. Backup running backs. AJ Brown, and the only dangerous receiver I had was Nico. You remember that?
Collins, yep.
Yeah, my playoffs had nothing but the powerhouse players, and I covered all of them. I'm not saying that's I didn't get lucky. I didn't say I'm not getting lucky. I'm saying it's the league that we have. I won a league with Kyle Monangai as my starter.
I almost won a league with Kyle Monangai.
Yes, I won a league, and Kyle Monangai gets 8 touches a game. I won a league with Kyle Monangai. Understand? That's my point. It's not everybody wants to get these big time players, and they're not understanding that's not the game anymore. Yep. I'm not doing that to brag on myself. I'm saying that's where the game is.
Yeah.
The game's spread to everybody, and you kind of have to study who's spreading it. Where are you spreading it?
Exactly. Well, we got 2 more games to go through. This next one we could probably just breeze through. Patriots 16, Chargers 3. And the criticism continues for Justin Herbert. But you know what? There's an interesting thing about this, because this doesn't get talked about, but that man has 0. Now, see, Chargers fans, now you know how Deshaun Watson and C.J. Stroud feel. To have traffic cones for an offensive line, now you know how it feels. Now you know what to do when you get in that draft. Jacob, your thoughts about this game, man?
My favorite meme is Daniel LaRusso getting beat up with a Chargers jersey on. but no, if Harbaugh can't get him past that, there's more of a problem than it meets the eye. And it's like, it's not all Herbert. He's got the arm talent, but here's the thing. Ben Johnson is basically Jim Harbaugh younger.
Yeah.
Is Harbaugh doing enough with the thing, or has he become Jack Harbaugh? Who is, Jack Harbaugh was a badass in his day, and now he's settled down. And it's like, is Jim and John settling down like that? That's my point. And it's like, does Herbert need someone in his face more? Like, you get 64 years old, you don't want to do that all the time.
Yeah.
So Herbert needs. Here's the thing. Herbert he had a horrible hand. He had a terrible hand. He had terrible injuries. But the biggest thing about this is he will play. He is tough. He will play through it. But he needs somebody to get in his head. I'm not a 64-year-old, basically a tough guy from his day. But a 64-year-old tough guy is still tough, but they're settled down. They just are. If they don't, you become Bob Knight, and then you at 80 years old, you're walking like, you just wore everything out. You're trying to keep yourself healthy as you get older, so you don't want to do that. someone like Herbert probably needs a Ben Johnson or a LaFleur or something like that that's younger and go with it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to leave Harbaugh, but I'm talking about getting an OC that's young. And
Yeah.
please don't get please do not get Mike McDaniel to try to be the tough guy. He looks like Jeff Van Gundy.
Oh, and as far as Herbert being beat up, me and you have talked about Todd Monken. Don't go get him. Herbert will be on a stretcher.
Oh, no, there's no question about that. But what I'm saying is they need someone to get in the face, but you need a guy with size. It's like, that's why I say I want McDaniel in the booth. He looks like Jeff Van Gundy holding onto somebody's leg to break up a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like a fourth grader trying to dress like his dad.
Yeah. No, I understand. Sean, your thoughts about this game, man?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously domination by the Patriots here. They didn't even have to show a lot of their hand. The game was kind of, in hand early, which I think is the advantage in the playoffs when you don't have to go deep in your playbook. So we'll see what they pull out next week. But in terms of the Chargers, it'd be interesting. Like Jacob said, I don't think Harbaugh's going anywhere, and they kind of solidified that today. This will be the first time, to my knowledge, too, that Harbaugh's going to be without offensive coordinator Greg Roman. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of the hire. Do they go younger, like I suggested could help Herbert, or do they go to someone where Harbaugh is just going to start calling the plays? It'll be interesting to see, but I think they'll go with a strong-minded running offensive coordinator like Roman was. So I don't think it's going to be a giant help to Herbert, unfortunately. And we'll kind of see what happens. But I think, it will be interesting. It's Harbaugh's first time without Roman. And a lot is going to fall on his decision to move on from him if the Chargers take any steps back on offense.
Greg, here's here's what happened. It was California, and Greg Roman looks like Rush Limbaugh.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's what happened with the offense. I mean, the people in California don't want Rush, so that's what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, as we close out the show, Texans 30, Steelers 6. Steelers held to their lowest amount of points in playoff history. We talked about A-Rod. We talked about Mike Tomlin. So this really is more about the game itself. Just looking at the final score, if you fell asleep, if you had to work today or something like that, you would see, whoa, it was a blowout. It was actually 7-6 entering the fourth quarter, and then the Texans just scored 23 points just like that. And they were terrorizing A-Rod all night, 12 quarterback hits, 4 sacks, 2 defensive touchdowns, a pick 6, and a scoop and score off of a strip sack fumble. Woody Marks got his first 100-yard game of the season, rushed for 112 and a score. The Christian Kirk, not Charlie Kirk, Stephen A. Christian Kirk. Just kidding. But the Christian Kirk breakout game, 8 for 144 and a score. How about that? So your thoughts about this game in general? I know it took a little while to get going. Stroud did throw a touchdown pass, but he also had 5 fumbles. He had 3 turnovers. He was responsible for 3 turnovers, a horrible interception. I'm screaming at the TV, run it, dude. That's what you do. Had no business throwing that ball. Then he also had 2 lost fumbles, especially off a flea flicker. But he kept fighting, and he willed his team through. But obviously the story of the game was the defense. But your thoughts about this, Jacob?
Named the name of Charlie Kirk, and I was going to say he's going to steal your name, Sniper.
I know, right?
Yeah. But can I say this real fast? I just want to say it with Mike Tomlin for a second. I just want to go with this, okay? We were talking about Pittsburgh here. I'm going to miss the guy. I'm going to miss him. I think he's retiring. I really do. I really get everything like this. He did everything he could be able to do and did everything, but he is the end of an era in the kind of, we're all in our 40s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're all in our 40s. He's the end of our era of the football we knew. A lot of rough, tough running, long, sustained drives, tough defense.
Right.
You can't do it anymore. You can't. It's like these offenses spread the ball too darn much. You can get your defense for a while, but it wears out like Pittsburgh did.
Right.
Just because they spread so much. But to me, Mike Tomlin is going to be down. Yeah, he struggled at the very end. as a he's basically like Dr. Williams. I mean, Shearer said it right. He is Dr. Rivers with the playoffs. But you know something? Doc Rivers is not a psychologist the way Tomlin is. Doc Rivers steals coaching jobs from deserving guys. Tomlin would never do that.
Right.
But that is the classiest dude who basically saved Ryan Clark's life by getting him off that field.
Yes.
He saved his life getting him off the field. Ryan Clark tried to hide it from him.
Mm-hmm.
This was at Denver. He can't play at Denver because he's got that condition. True.
Yeah, and it's like, and he says, I'm not putting you on that field. Tomlin won 8 division titles. 8. With the way he was, 12 10-win seasons, and he did it that way. He did it his way, and I'm not going to listen to the things that the struggles at the end. I hope he. I don't. Here's the thing: he can struggle getting to the playoffs and doing all that kind of stuff. Let me say this: it's better than being an end of Landry and Tom Landry at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had 3 straight losing seasons and go. And by the way, everyone, I just wanted to be able to say thank you for having me on, and I better get I got an early morning tomorrow. You guys there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here.
I've got an early morning tomorrow, so I got to get going.
Okay, it's okay. We're about to close the show anyway. Hey, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Real quick, Sean, your thoughts about this game, and then we'll wrap it up.
So just to kind of add to what he was saying about Tomlin, it's kind of like when Parcells and George Seifert kind of walked away, and finally it's a different era in coaching now. John Harbaugh, it seems like he may stay active. I'm with Jacob, though. I think Tomlin's going to retire for at least a year, or maybe permanently. But I find fine pressed to find a fan base that's going to argue with no losing seasons over the last 20 and be unhappy about it. I know as just a Niner fan myself, I'll trade in the 3 or 4 4-12s we've just had in the last 8 years for a non-losing season and a chance at a wild card or a playoff berth. I think you would rather have that than go 12-4, 4-12, 10-6, 4-12. I think you'd rather be in it every year. And that's what Tomlin did. And like Jacob said earlier, it wasn't necessarily about the X's and O's with him. He connected with the guys on a different level that we just haven't seen. In terms of the game itself, it's funny because we were talking and it was 7-6. And, I was telling you're probably sweating this out. And within like 90 seconds, 2 touchdowns. And it was pretty much a wrap at that point.
Yeah.
Right. Real quick. It went from 7-6 to, I think it was 24-6 or something. And it was like, okay, that's it. You knew the Steelers just didn't have that type of firepower. If it stayed 7-6, you kind of felt like the Steelers could sneak in a field goal, win 9-7, and they're gonna walk into the next round and get destroyed. But that game turned quickly. Like you said, if someone turned in late, they're like, oh, Steelers just got blown out. No, I mean, it really fell apart quickly there at the end for them. I think it was a great defensive game and kind of, it was a good capper for Tomlin's career, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That one right there I can agree with. Had this, even when the Texans had that scoop and score to go up 11, I'm like, that's still Aaron Rodgers on the other side. And he had, we saw he had a game-winning drive left in him last week against Baltimore. If this was Green Bay Rodgers, I'm soiling myself.
You just never know, right? Because especially when you have someone back there like that, it's kind of like Favre on the Vikings. There's a chance.
There's a chance. There absolutely is a chance. Well, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. I know we ran a little bit over, but thanks a lot for joining us. Shout out to you, Sean. Thanks for joining. I know it was last minute. Contacted you and you showed up. Thanks a lot. We will be on the air on Thursday for the Sports Insiders and also Friday for Gauntlet. So until then, I'm going to do my best. Dave, there's a lot going on in the world. We're starting off 2026. Let's keep it positive and keep it pushing, So be good humans, and we will see you all next week. The gang should be back and all healed up. So until then, ladies and gentlemen,